We are live on the Doug Serravo Show. NHL season is underway, and tomorrow the New Jersey Devils will be starting up. And this is going to be an interesting season. And I say that because we have we're rebuilding, basically. We're still rebuilding. And it's interesting with the roster we have, for real. It's truly interesting with the roster we have. And I was looking at it today. Sammy Vatanen, alongside with Jesper Bratt, they're still going to be delayed because of this whole, the pandemic. They have to wait at least 7 days, I believe. And then you have to have 4 back-to-back negative COVID tests. So, looking at the roster, I believe Mikey McLeod made it. That's not the roster. Sorry about that. There we go. Maybe too small for you, but looking at the roster, Mikey McLeod made it. Igor Shanarovich made it. He made the roster. Nathan Baston made it. And, let's get started with the goaltending situation. And originally, we were supposed to have Corey Crawford and Mackenzie Blackwood. That we started with. And then Corey decided to retire. So unfortunately, we're going to have, not unfortunately because of the situation we're in, but looking at this Devils goaltending situation, we're going to have Mackenzie Blackwood, who played in 47 games last year. We're going to have, I believe, Scott Wedgwood. We signed Evan Comrie to a contract, and Gil Sen. So those are the goaltenders on the roster. Some will be on the taxi squad, while some will be on, I believe, the AHL team. Nico is still hurt, and if you're looking at this team, and you're looking at the division we're in, it's still going to be one of those years where we're going to be bottom 7. We're going to be at that bottom 7, 8 spot. And it's tough. This is my 11th year as a season ticket holder. And looking at it, we made the playoffs twice. First year we went to the Stanley Cup final. And yeah, I'll tell you, it sucks. But, now we're doing the true rebuild. This is the true rebuild. It failed with Taylor Hall. We had to trade him. I wouldn't say it failed with Taylor Hall because Taylor Hall was a huge piece for this organization. There's no doubt about that. He was a huge piece for this organization. MVP, we went to the playoffs, same thing with Keith Kincaid. Unfortunately, that didn't work out, and we had to trade him. We got back a draft pick, Nick Merkley, Kevin Ball. But this Devils team is probably going to finish 7th or 8th. You got Buffalo, and you have us. In a great division with Boston, Washington, New York, Philly, Pittsburgh. We should be good next year, falling top 5 in the draft. Get another defensive prospect. But it's going to be an interesting season. It's going to be fun playing against our rivals 8 times a year. That would be the best part. Hopefully it's competitive. But looking at this team, we're building our core of Mackenzie Blackwood. We're building our core of Nico Hischier, Jesper Bratt, Nikita Gusev. We'll see if Palmieri gets traded. We'll see if Vatanen gets traded again. So this is an interesting Devils season for sure. For sure, interesting Devils season. It's truly going to be one of those up and down years, though. Looking at the defense, we have, obviously, PK Subban, Matt Tennyson made the roster. Connor Carrick made the roster. Dmitry Kulikov, Will Butcher. We have, no, it's pretty. It's hard to describe with this Devils defense. They had some up and down moments last year, but the question is, can PK Subban get back to his prime level that we saw in Montreal, Nashville? Looking at the roster, we don't really have we don't have depth, let's put it that way. Mikey McLeod didn't pan out the way we want him to. Pavel Zacher still ain't the same. He's not the sixth pick that we thought he would be. He's below average. So when you look at this Devils roster, all we want is to see progress. You want Nico Hischier to take the next step. You want Miles Wood to take his next step. I feel like we've been saying that for many years. I feel like we have. But looking at this roster, and I'm going to pull it up on my phone so I could get a good grasp of it. Looks small for you guys, so I apologize for that. But looking at this Devil roster, it's very interesting. Because when you look at other teams have the depth. Other teams have, when you look at other teams, they have that competitiveness. You look at the Capitals, you look at the Penguins, you look at the Bruins, you look at the Flyers, and then there's us, the New Jersey Devils. It's honestly frustrating because we delayed the rebuild after the Stanley Cup final. We delayed it. What I would have done is I would have let Marty walk. And you couldn't really even trade Parise for a prospect because we were still in that playoff position, 11-12. Zach left for Minnesota. And the following year, before Kovalchuk left, what I would have done is I would have traded David Clarkson at the deadline. That's something I would have done, number one. I would have let Marty walk. And I wouldn't have brought in guys like Michael Ryder, Marty Havlat, maybe Jaromir Jagr. But I wouldn't have brought back Scott Gomez. The rebuild truly got delayed. It got delayed. And now we're rebuilding. Now we're rebuilding the proper way with Tom Fitzgerald. And for me, what I think Ray Shar rushed it. I think he tried to win now last year by bringing in Wayne Simmons. I really don't know who he brought in because we traded half of them. But I think he tried to win now last year. PK Subban. But looking at this roster, the 2021 roster, we got Connor Carrick, we got Matt Tennyson, Will Butcher, Andreas Johnsson, Nico Hischier, Nathan Baston, Igor Sharangovich, Travis Zajac, Michael McLeod, Kyle Palmieri, Ryan Murray, Mikhail Matsev. I believe he's on the taxi squad roster. Ty Smith, Nolan Foote, taxi squad roster. Damon Severson, Pavel Zacha, Nick Merkley, Miles Wood, Sami Vatanen, Yanni Kakkonen, Jesper Bratt, Dmitry Kulikov, PK Subban, Jack Hughes, Jesper Boquist, Nikita Gusev, and then our goaltenders, I believe McKenzie and Wedge will be the goaltenders, and alongside Eric Comrie and Gil Sen. So moving forward, the roster, these are the main guys moving forward. Will Butcher, Andreas Johnsson, Nico Hischier, hopefully Igor Sharangovich, Ryan Murray, Ty Smith, Nolan Foote, Damon Severson, who knows with Pavel Zacha, who knows with Miles Wood, Yanni Kukakankin, I think I said it right. I'm not sure if it's not. I apologize. Jesper Bratt, Jack Hughes, Jesper Boquist, and Nikita Gusev, and I mentioned a couple minutes ago Mackenzie Blackwood. Those are the guys that we have to focus on moving forward, especially when we try to contend. This is technically a 9-year rebuild. The first rebuild with Ray Shero didn't work. You could say that Lou, who I have so much respect for everything he brought to this organization, you could say the Stanley Cup final rebuild didn't work. Do we trade Kyle Palmieri? Do we trade Miles Wood? Do we trade Sammy Vatanen? I'm liking the pieces that we have right now that Fitzy brought in. Andres Johansson, Ryan Murray, Nolan Foote. We just have to hope they pan out. And if you're looking at our lines, I'm not talking about the guys currently here, I'm talking about the core moving forward. Because that's what we have to look forward to. We have to look forward to the years when we contend. The first line, I believe, will be Nico Hischier, Jesper Bratt. Second line, Jack Hughes, Nikita Gusev. And Nolan Foote. So realistically, we don't really know who's going to be our main guys. We can't even get towards that depth yet. If you look at teams like, let's go to the Penguins for example. When they were rebuilding, yes, having Crosby helps for sure. Having Malkin helps for sure. But at least they had their core in place. They had Crosby, they had Kunitz, they had Malkin, they had Letang. We're getting there. Maybe a while, but we are getting there. We have plenty more to get to, and we'll be right back after this commercial break. Where the Monroe Falcons are playing the St. Joseph of McCutcheon Falcons.
Past that game's history, we have a state's championship on our mind now.
The ranch, the buffalo.
It all works together very nicely.
Welcome to Falcons Insider.
Falcons Insider.
On today's episode, we're doing a lot of great work. This is work that people said couldn't have been done before. A lot of money doing something you love.
Re-elected team reporter.
Yeah, what a season that was for you. 54 points in 18 games.
But definitely, when I said that we're going to win GMCs, I think that's another one that remember. Yeah.
That's without history. You just said it with so much confidence. We are back, and we are live on the Doug Saravo Show. Alongside me is, it's just myself tonight. So, looking at this Devils schedule, so it's just basically divisional opponents. We saw it in the lockout year where we were just playing Eastern Conference. And starting off, we're going to play Boston, and that's going to be a huge test for us. And I truly believe, I saw a report that they will be without David Pastrnak. So that helps us. Lindy Ruff came out and said that Max should be ready to go. So looking at this schedule to start, we're going to play the Bruins, then we're playing the Bruins again on Saturday. Then we're playing the Rangers, then we're playing the Islanders, then the Islanders again, then the Flyers, then the Flyers. So basically, looking at this schedule, it's all back-to-back opponents. And it's pretty interesting how it's going to work out. It's all back-to-back opponents. And I believe there's a stretch where we play the Rangers 4 times in a row. We play the Rangers 4 times in a row. And that will be interesting. That would be interesting to see how that goes. So to play the Rangers 4 times in a row, see Hughes and Kakko and Lafreniere. We can't even mention our draft pick yet because, they still have time to develop. But that's going to be an interesting rivalry for many years to go. If things work out for us, I'm going to love to see Alexander Holtz, Darcy Mercer. I mentioned before in this episode that we don't know our core yet. But we do have people in the system that I believe can work out for us. So if you could have Holtz and you could have Mercer as a top 2, that would work. If you could have Holtz and Mercer and Jesper Bratt, I'm liking those lines. I'm going to really like those lines. Then if you look at that core for the Rangers, where you have Lafreniere, where you have Panarin, Zibanejad, Buchnevich, Kreider, Kapokako, the Rangers have rebuilt better than we did. And it only took them about 2.5 years. It only took them 2.5 years to rebuild. And unfortunately, we failed. The Rangers are in a better position than we are. They don't have to look for 6, 7 players. They may need someone on the 3rd or the 4th line. But at least with us, at least with them, but with us, we still have a lot of work to do. Because we don't know what these guys have yet. And we could be moving on from Zaka. We could be moving on from McLeod, Basted. We still have a lot of holes to fill, and that's the issue with this team. That's the issue with this team. We have a lot of holes to fill. It's not 1 or 2 guys. It's quite a few. The Devils, we have a lot of holes to fill, but hopefully Holtz pans out. Hopefully Mercer pans out. And I think there are a lot of teams in cap space. They have cap space issues. So if there's a way we could get like a Jonathan Marchessault or a Max Pacioretty from Vegas, I think that would help us. That's something I would like. So if you go to dailyfaceoff.com, the Rangers, these are their lines. Chris Kreider, Mika Zibanejad, Pavel Buchnevich on 1. On 2, you have Panarin, you have Strome, you have Kakko. Then third line, you have Lafreniere, you have Hedl, Gauthier. Then you have Lemieux, you have Howden, and you have Di Giuseppe. And the Rangers, they also have their defense panned out, too. You got Lindgren, Foxy, Trouba, Keandre Miller, Jack Johnson, and Tony DeAngelo. For us, a lot of question marks in the year. A lot. I'm not talking 1 or 2 guys. That's the problem for us. We got more holes to fill. And according to dailyfaceoff.com, these are our lines. And I want to talk about this because who knows who's going to be where in 2 to 3 years. Your first line, according to dailyfaceoff.com, is Igor Sharangovich, Jack Hughes, Kyle Palmieri, Andreas Johnsson, Pavel Zacha, Nikita Gusev. Third line, you have Miles Wood, Travis Zajac, Jesper Boquist. Fourth line, Yanni Kakkonen, Michael McLeod, and Nathan Baston. I'm looking at this. I don't know if Palmieri will still be around, as he's in trade rumors. I don't know if Zacha will still be around. I don't know if Miles Wood would still be around. You can say the same thing about Zajac. And then that fourth line, I don't know if Kakkonen will still be around, especially McLeod, especially Baston. And then the defense, PK Subban, Ryan Murray, Dmitry Kulikov, Damon Severson, Ty Smith, Matt Tennyson. So this is an interesting team. I see us going 20, 30, and 6. I just don't like the depth of this roster. I do not. And that's the problem for this New Jersey Devils team. We don't have the depth. We don't have the roster. We don't. And that's the issue. That's the issue for this Devils team. It's going to be like that for many years to come. Until we fix it. And we have to fix it. I'm not sure when, but this is something we have to fix. You know, we have our guys in place with Jack Hughes, Nico Hischier, Nikita Gusev, Jesper Bratt, but we really need to focus on developing those guys, and then we can worry about the depth, because that's the issue right now. We don't have guys in place. We don't have guys in place where we could have depth. So if we could go out and maybe get a Jonathan Marchessault, a Max Pacioretty, you could have them on your third line. You could have them on your second line. The Devils, we have a lot of issues right now. Unfortunately, that's the case. Again, you're listening to the Doug Strabo Show. We're live on YouTube, Facebook. I was going to say something. This is kind of the debut of Section 116. Kyle Esposito and I will be having a show where we talk about the Devils. And normally we have Devils on the road, but I'm not sure when I'll be able to get to a game this year. So I would like to have Devils on the road again. Or we could just call it Section 116. That could be the Devils on the road segment. Again, if you're just joining us, we have been discussing the New Jersey Devils. To finish up this show, I want to preview, not really preview, but give my thoughts on the NFL divisional games, because on Monday, we will be recapping those games. I'm hoping Kyle joins us. I'm hoping Matt joins us. So it's going to be a good interaction. Again, you're listening to the Doug Strabo Show. We will be right back right after this commercial break.
Where the Monroe Falcons are playing the St. Joseph of McCutcheon Falcons.
Past that game's history, we have a state's championship on our mind now.
The Ranch, the Buffalo.
It all works together very nicely.
Welcome to Falcons Insider.
Falcons Insider.
On today's episode, we're doing a lot of great work. This is work that people said couldn't have been done before.
A lot of money doing something you love.
Re-elected team reporter.
Yeah, what a season that was for you. 54 points in 18 games.
But definitely, when I said that we're going to win GMCs, I think that's another one that I remember. Yeah.
That's go down in history. You just said it with so much confidence.
are back and we are live on the Doug Saravo Show. Alongside me is myself. So, what a phenomenal NFL wildcard round. It was truly a phenomenal game. Especially when you watch those Cleveland Browns. And we're going to start things off with the Cleveland Browns and the Kansas City Chiefs. That is a game we are starting with. And I think some of you are going to come to me and be like, are you insane? Going with the Browns over the Chiefs? But here's the thing. I do not like the situation for the Chiefs. I just don't. They benched Patrick Mahomes for Matt Moore to get rest. And they've been off for the week. But for Mahomes' sake, he's been off for 2 weeks. So I'm not sure if he could get back in the groove. And that's why I'm going with the Browns. They have so much momentum. They have so much momentum heading into this game. And there's a famous saying that if you want to be the best, you have to beat the best. And I believe that Baker Mayfield wants to be the best. He was willing to come to Cleveland. Draft night, or a few days prior to the draft, he said, I want this task of being the next quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. He wanted that. And he is so hungry to get this win. And if you're looking at Baker Mayfield, you're looking at all these teams, you're looking at all these players, the Cleveland Browns are no longer the joke of the NFL. They are no longer the joke of the NFL. And if you watch them play, they're legit. And I truly believe that they may upset the Kansas City Chiefs. And that's why I have them playing the Buffalo Bills in the AFC Championship game. That is why. The Ravens, I don't trust 100%. I do think they're a great team. But I just think that the Buffalo Bills are better. Josh Allen is the better quarterback in my mind. In my mind, he's the better quarterback. Nothing can compare to him. The year he's having. That's not taking anything away from Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Baker Mayfield. They're all great quarterbacks, but I just think there's something about Josh Allen. And I truly believe the Buffalo Bills will win the Super Bowl this year. I truly believe that. I think he's the face of the AFC East for many years to come. And I think if we're looking at these remaining quarterbacks, they are the face of the AFC to come. We may see these playoff matches again in the future. There's no reason why we won't. There's no reason why we won't. So moving on to the NFC games. The NFC games, not the AFC. The same thing goes for the Green Bay Packers. I do not like the week off. I think it takes away all the momentum. And if you look at the Super Bowl runs that the New York Giants went on, we didn't have a week off. But when we did have a week off in 2009 against the Philadelphia Eagles, or it was 2008, we were 13-3. Yeah, I know some of you are going to say Antonio, I believe both of them were at the club or something. But I know some of you are going to say, hey, Plaxico shot himself, took away all the momentum. Yeah, that was a distraction. Yeah, we could have used him. But the Giants played so much better that year. 13-3, they were going on a great run, bound to repeat. Then we have the week off. And what happens? We lose. I think we were 12-4 actually. But we lost at home to the Eagles. I'm not taking away anything from the Eagles. But going back, if we didn't have that week off, we might have won and we might have went to another Super Bowl. We would have went back to back. I'm not really a big fan of the buys. You know, it's good that you have home field advantage, but I think it's tough, especially when you have that momentum. I would love to see the NFL have 8 playoff teams, 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7, 3 versus 6, 4 versus 5. I would love it if they did that. Because if they do that, you don't have to worry about the bye. So let's go over the 2 teams I'm picking to go to the conference championship. And we're going to see a rematch of Tom Brady versus Jared Goff. So, I'm going to start with the Rams defeating the Green Bay Packers. Like I just mentioned before, I do not like the bye. I really don't like it. And I think going into that bye, the momentum won't be there for the Packers. The Rams have all the momentum right now. The Rams have it. The Rams are the one with the momentum. And I think on my show with Andrew, I picked the Saints. But I rewatched the game, the Saints-Bears game. And the Saints didn't play their best football. And I think the same thing could be said about the Buccaneers. You know, they could have lost to the football team. They could have lost. Taylor Heineke played well, but they came out on top. I just think that when you have receivers like Gronkowski, Evans, Godwin, Antonio Brown, much respect to Antonio. Everything he's been through, from the drama to everything. If he gets a Super Bowl, I would be so happy for him. I really would. But like I said, the Saints should have destroyed the Bears. The Bears could have won that game. You know, you had the drop ball in the end zone. But looking at these matchups, I just think the Buccaneers will be the better team against the Saints. And the Rams have all the momentum, but they're also struggling. But Packers have the bye. They struggled against the Seahawks, but the Rams came out on top, and I just think the byes are going to affect both teams. You know, we could come back to this episode and see if I was right. The byes are going to affect the Packers, and the bye will also affect the Chiefs. I truly, truly believe that. I truly believe that. Again, if you're just joining me, you're listening to the Doug Saravo Show. Today was a great episode. This was the debut of Section 116, and some of you may be saying, why are you even talking about the NFL? I just wanted to give a quick preview of the divisional games before we go in depth with NFL on Monday. Just in case you didn't see my past episode and you tuned in tonight, you will get a quick recap of what's about to go on this weekend. And again, we need the 1 versus 8. I think 8 teams in the NFL would make a lot of sense. But I wonder how you would do the scheduling. That may be a question mark. You could probably do a 12 o'clock game, 2 o'clock game, 4 o'clock game, 8 o'clock. Or maybe you could even do a Monday night game. Have 2 Monday night games. You know, it would be tough scheduling. But if every league could have 16 teams in the playoffs, I don't see why the NFL cannot do that. I don't see why. More money for them, for sure. But I think it's going to be interesting. Again, thank you for joining me on the Doug Saravo Show. We will be right back with my final thoughts. And if you've been watching us last summer, watching us now, this is a segment we always do. Final thoughts. I do a few discussions of what I think about the episode. Again, we'll be right back.
Where the Monroe Falcons are playing the St. Joseph of McCutcheon Falcons.
Past that game's history, we have a state's championship on our mind now.
The ranch, the buffalo.
It all works together very nicely.
Welcome to Falcons Insider.
Falcons Insider.
On today's episode, we're doing a lot of great work. You know, this is work that people said couldn't have been done
A
before.
lot of money doing something you love.
Re-elected team reporter.
Yeah, what a season that was for you. 54 points in 18 games.
But definitely, I mean, when I said that we're going to win GMCs, I think that's another one that we remember. Yeah.
That's go down in history. You just said it with so much confidence.
We are back on the Doug Saravo Show. It is time for our final thoughts segment. And instead, I have a question for all of you. What do you think of Josh Allen as MVP? You could tweet me and give me your thoughts on this. But that is my final segment. What do you think of Josh Allen as MVP? And I think that he's been a great quarterback this season. You know, I wish the Giants somehow drafted him. You know, I have respect for Daniel Jones. I think he's going to improve. But I truly wish we had Josh Allen. And I think he's going to win MVP this year. Because without him, where would the Buffalo Bills be without him? You know, they went 13-3. Yes, you had, you know, up and down year from the Patriots and Cam Newton. We all know what the Jets are. That's not even a discussion. We all know what the Jets are. Miami looked good. But without Josh Allen, would they be that effective? And I truly believe that Josh Allen is he's going to be the face of the NFL for years to come. Not taking anything away from prior quarterbacks. But I think Josh Allen is going to be one of the best. He's going to win a few Super Bowls for sure. First Super Bowl this year, first NFL MVP this year, Super Bowl MVP. He has a lot to prove. And I think he's going to do that. For sure. There's no reason why he can't win MVP. There's no reason why. And that's how I'm going to end the show. Josh Allen has been a great quarterback. And honestly, this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning for Josh Allen. And he has many years to come. Again, thank you for listening to the Doug Saravo Show. We'll see you guys Monday night, 9 p.m. Take care.